what about technology? There's like the Dark Ages are completely encompassed by this Middle Ages period. What about technology? Because it feels, I don't know, this is me talking as the guy that doesn't know what the fuck he's talking, doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about most of the time, but specifically when it comes to the history of the planet that I live on. And I don't see, it feels like Rome had a lot sorted. And then you come out the other side at the Renaissance, and we've got, what have we got to show for it? Like some art, some castles, which you have profited from massively, and
no, I don't presume.
And some death, some plagues. Like, is no one adventuring or technologying during this period? What's happening?
Well, there's no doubt that the Roman Empire had achieved a sort of technological spike in the graph, if you like. Very inventive and ingenious age, underpinned, of course, by mass slavery. And one of the reasons that certain societies have been able to build fast and high and impressive and large is because they've enslaved tens of that, ancient Egyptians.
Aliens like the Egyptians enslaved, yes.
Yes, of course. I've forgotten about that. But there's no doubt. So after the breakup of the Roman Empire in the West, there's no doubt that you see all sorts of networks broken over what used to be the Western Roman Empire. Some of those are knowledge networks, and some of those are technological exchange networks, and some of those just are wealth networks. So it takes a long time for certainly Western Europe, and I'm being quite specific about Western Europe, to recover to a point of similar technological sophistication. But it doesn't take as long as you're suggesting.
When do you think that is? When do they get back to a...
I mean, whether it's about getting back to par, but getting back to a society that is every generation seems to be becoming wealthier and more creative and more inventive and more thirsty for knowledge and more capable of deploying that knowledge to useful ends. It's around the millennium that you start to see new technology starting to transform the way that people live. Let's take one small example. We talked earlier. We didn't really talk earlier. We mentioned earlier knights. If you take the stirrup and the importation of stirrup technology from east to west, when 8th century, maybe 9th century, 10th century, sometime like this, it takes a while to arrive and to spread. But certainly by the millennium, the stirrup, people are riding with stirrups. In the 12th century, it's just part of riding. In fact, you couldn't have knights without stirrups because you couldn't. If you think about trying to joust on horseback, if you're given a lance, you're going to need a couple of things on the horse. You're going to need a saddle, right? And you're going to need stirrups, because otherwise, if you ride that horse at something and try and jab it with that lance, what's going to happen is the horse will go that way and you will go that way. And it will be comical till you break your pelvis on your fall. It will still be comical, but not for you. So the invention of the stirrup enables a military revolution because it enables the development of Frankish cavalry. And Frankish cavalry, to take one example, are a central part of the success of the First Crusade. Now, the First Crusade, we could argue, is a transformative political event in the history of the whole Middle Ages. But although this sounds a bit butterfly effect, the First Crusade might not have been possible without the invention of the stirrup, which seems to us an impossibly simple piece of technology, but is very important. And from that point, from around the 10th, 11th century, you start to see in Western Europe inventions, windmills. Windmills sound kind of boring, but they're incredibly important for the development of agriculture. I see a rising population which is able to feed itself better because you have You have improvements in plow technology. These are unglamorous things, but agricultural technology improves, military technology improves. So it's earlier than you think that the difference starts to be made. The astrolabe comes back into society, or comes into Western society from the Greeks and the Arabs, and that makes navigation a lot easier.
What about warfare? Any warfare technology developments?
Well, by the 14th century, you started to see gunpowder. Gunpowder is a sort of late Middle Ages, end of the Middle Ages kind of phenomenon, and we tend to associate the arrival of gunpowder on the battlefields with the end of the Middle Ages. But it's there quite early on in the West, in the late Middle Ages. So, and then in armor technology, look, you see armor and arms. I mean, think about, a good example, Frankish swords. Franks are extremely famous for producing high quality swords.
What was so high quality about them? What did they do? Better for stabbing with?
Or did steel? Well, no, it doesn't shatter on impact. Mainly, capable of maintaining a sharper edge. If you think about the development in armor think about the Norman. Close your eyes. Think about the Bayeux Tapestry, as I say to all my lovers. And what are they wearing? Like male link armor. It's the colloquial term is chainmail. That's tautology, but male armor. The development of that to, by the 14th century, largely plate armor enables heavier fighting, closer at hand on foot, and bigger armies are required. Longbow technology. Lots of developments that seem quite primitive to us because we're in a nuclear age and we're post the barbed wire and machine guns to the trenches. But technological, and then you mentioned navigation. Well, again, by the early 15th century, you've got boat technology and navigation technology improving to the point that 2 generations before Columbus sailed for the Indies and bumped into the Americas. Henry the Navigator, the Portuguese, sending ships ever further down the West African coast and coming back. The problem wasn't going down the coast; it was coming back. But long before that, even if you look around the turn of the millennium, to go back to sort of where I started, you've got Europeans in the Americas then. You've got Vikings over at Lancer Meadows around the year 1000. So medieval technology is more sophisticated than perhaps we give it credit for.
Yeah, it's a weird one because the way that technology works, it enables further developments to be made. So you do have this sort of exponential curve that comes in as something gets enabled, then that enables something else that goes down there. And it kind of feels like where you're leaving the story, whatever, 1500 and a bit, that there's a lot of the fundamental pieces in place to allow pirates within 300 years, to allow bigger buildings, to allow faster development, faster travel, so on and so forth, more dangerous weapons.
Well, okay, but let's take those in terms. Pirates, they've always been pirates.
Would they have been able to travel as far across the ocean? Would they have been able to do...
Depends how far. You don't need to travel very far to be a pirate. I mean, if you look at...
Caribbean, obviously. That's where Jack Sparrow is.
Yeah, like you've just watched too many movies. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, because I'm alive.
The pirates of the Mediterranean is a story that you could set in any bloody age. You could, really.
Pirates of the Mediterranean. That's what they should have done.
Yeah, it sounds like
fighting over pasta.
Disney aren't making Pirates of the Mediterranean.
Fighting over pasta. That's what they could have had.
Okay, keep it up. What was the next thing you said that I was about to demolish? Big buildings.
Big buildings.
Yes. You know, with your big buildings. Lincoln Cathedral. Big building? Halfway between biggest building in the world, mate.
For a while.
It was bigger than the pyramid. Yeah, until the spire blew down, but that was bigger than the Great Pyramid at Giza.
It's on a big hill, isn't it?
And it was but we're not counting the hill. It's even better because it's on the top of the hill. Put the fucking Eiffel Tower on top of a hill. Count the hill. Oh man, the Dome of the Rock's big, isn't it? What? Well, it's on a hill.
Makes it look bigger.
Well, look,
Everyone's done that. Everyone's pulled something down around something that they're trying to make look bigger to create the illusion that the thing that they're trying to make look bigger actually is bigger.
You're talking about manscaping.
Manscaping, I wasn't actually aware was a specific term, although manscaped...
You've not heard the portmanteau manscaping?
No.
Like shaving your pubes?
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't know that it was like a pursuit that people went into. Is there like a subreddit for it?
I don't know. There's like a Peloton class for it. You just click the button that's next to yoga.
Manscaped. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed that, then press here for the full, unedited episode. And don't forget to subscribe. It makes me very happy indeed. Peace.